Hi, I'm Glenn Simpson, and I've collected comics for over 40 years, and I'm showing off my collection one box at a time. Today, we're going to look at box number 42. We're going to start off with some Contest of Champions, and we're going to go end with a crisis, but not the crisis. And in the middle, there'll be some countdowns and things like that. So I'm so glad you're here. Please like and comment and subscribe. And if there's anything inside of a pack, or you would like to see an entire series done without skipping any, please comment and let me know, and we'll look at doing a video for that. So, meanwhile, here we go with box 42. All right, here we go. So, when I mentioned that we were starting with Contest of Champions, I bet some of you thought, oh, we're going to do that 1980s series. But no, that is Marvel Superhero Contest of Champions. This is actually the first series that just starts with Contest of Champions. This is tied into in fact, it may not be the first, but this is tied into a game. I think this does take place in the regular Marvel universe, but it has a lot of the elements and characters from the Contest of Champions video game. So, got issue 1 of that. Rolls through issue 5. Right there. Of course, Maestro is from the Hulk. Future Imperfect is a big character in this. We got the Joe Fixit version of Hulk. We got some Venom and some Ares and some things like that. This guy is the British Punisher. Not quite as rough as the American Punisher. Issue 6. And that one ends with issue 10. But before that, chronologically, but not alphabetically, we had Contest of Champions 2, which was a somewhat of a sequel to the original Marvel Superhero Contest of Champions, and it had some characters being pulled together to fight it out, and with a prize in mind. And that's issue 1, and this image will change over each issue until you get to issue 5. Spoiler, it's a Brood that is kind of controlling this whole thing, and we got yet another Ms. Marvel versus Rogue fight going on here. We got Phil Jimenez, I believe, doing art. Awesome artist on all this whole thing. So interesting series to maybe pick up. I have no idea where I ended up with this, but this was some little off-brand series. I do not recall being enamored or fascinated by the Contingent, but just in case, hey, if there's a Contingent movie, I'll have that first issue all set. So then we get to Convergence. So DC decides to move their offices from New York to Burbank, California, and they need some time in which the regular office people, the editors and things like that, can not be working on comic books and can dedicate their time to moving the office. And so they start working ahead, and they bring in some other editors, like part-time, temp kind of things, and those editors and those people work with the writers and artists to create this Convergence event and of all the series that come out. And so the regular staff can work on moving the offices across the country. So we have Convergence number 0, and the story revolves around the heroes discovering that Brainiac, and there has been more than one, because apparently every Brainiac we've ever seen was just a drone that was controlled by the real Brainiac. Sort of like the whole Darkseid sends his avatars out and there's only one Darkseid kind of idea. and the whole Thanos has robots that he sends out, so it's not always the real thing. Anyway, and so we find out that that Brainiac had grabbed various cities and from various times in the history of the DC universe, even accounting for reboots and things. So we have characters from various points in the DC history, pre-crisis, post-crisis, that kind of thing, coming up against each other and meeting each other. So here we got issue 0 of that there. And then we've got the heroes of the New 52 version of Earth 2 having a fight. I believe this is a wraparound cover, and with an opponent. And here in issue 8, the whole thing sort of gets resolved. We got pre-crisis Supergirl, we got Barry Allen Flash, we got post-crisis Superman with Lois and their son Jon Kent, and we got Parallax, Hal Jordan, kind of all getting together. And the end of the thing suggests that they're going to go and change the circumstances, or change the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, but nothing ever comes of it. The writers kind of leave it open for somebody to pick up on that thread and do something with it, and nobody does. So that's kind of a, from a continuity point of view, nobody should get too worked up over the events of Convergence. Nobody really pays that much attention to it. So anyway, that was issue 8. So then for 2 months, we had nothing but these alternate little series, and so you'll be able to see some of them here. The first issue of some of them, we had Convergence action with the old Earth 2 Superman going up against the Red Sun Superman. I'll call these out if I can remember them. We had Convergence Adventures of Superman with the pre-crisis Supergirl involved, but I don't know who they were fighting there. We have Convergence Aquaman, throwing back to Hook Hand Aquaman, or early Hook Hand Aquaman even, in issue 1. Got Convergence Atom with bringing back the all-new Atom that we hadn't seen in a while. Right there. We have the Convergence Batgirl with the sort of Stephanie Brown and Tim Drake and Cassandra Cain, as they appeared like right before Flashpoint changed everything to the New 52. And we have Batman and Robin with the version of with kind of the pre-return of Bruce Wayne. So we got getting another fight with the Red Hood there. Let's see. I think we got Batman and the Outsiders, bringing back that team that we hadn't seen in that form since the 80s, as it were. We've got Convergence, Batman Shadow of the Bat, bringing back as Bats. Right there. Azrael, Batman. Got Convergence Blue Beetle, the Charlton heroes, kind of in their original form, having an adventure. Right there. Got Convergence Booster Gold. So we have pre-New 52 Booster Gold meeting post-New 52 Booster Gold and working out their issues. Right there. Convergence Catwoman, just kind of a pass. I think this was supposed to be the Jim Ballant Catwoman from that series. And Convergent Crime Syndicate, the old original Earth 3, where the heroes were villains. And some things that they have a strife with each other. Yes, we had a Bill Sienkiewicz cover with the old Earth 2 Huntress and Robin, adult Robin. There's daughter of Batman and Catwoman, and adult Robin having an adventure. We've got Convergence, the Flash. I think this was the Wally West, like height of the 90s Wally West that this was supposed to be. Bringing back there. Got Convergence Green Arrow with Urban Hunter. Green Arrow right there. Kind of the one from the Grell series. Convergence Green Lantern Corps with Hal and Guy, and they're teaming up. They're going up against Hercules from the Hercules Unbound series, classic DC series. Got Convergence Green Lantern Parallax. So from the 0 hour time frame when Hal Jordan had gone nuts and just killed off all the Green Lantern Corps, and Convergence Harley Quinn from kind of right before Flashpoint, when back before she stopped wearing the dongly things, back when she used to dress like that, pre New 52, and her original team up with Poison Ivy and Catwoman. Convergence Hawkman, good old-fashioned Silver Age Hawkman and Hawkwoman, or Hawkgirl, if I remember correctly, hanging out, coming to Gotham City. Infinity Inc., the old sons and daughters of the Justice Society when they were a team, right there. Convergence Justice League, the team in the shape that it was in right before the New 52, having an adventure. And Convergence Justice League of America, the team when it was Justice League Detroit, back right before the crisis, having one last hurrah. Convergence Justice League International, kind of the team as it existed right after the crisis, when it was the Bwahaha, Keith Giffen kind of Justice League. You've got Justice Society of America, your classic JSA team. Looks like it's kind of hard to tell from the artwork, and I can't remember if this was like at their prime. This might have been either at their prime or the old, when they were, came back when the Justice League was around. Drawing a blank on that one. Got Convergence, New Teen Titans. Titans about at the height of Disco Nightwing suit. Right there, Cole, Jericho. With art by what's her first name, great art there on that one, and have this Convergence Nightwing Oracle. This was kind of at the early Birds of Prey, early Nightwing series time frame, and they're going up against a crazed Hawkman there. Got Plastic Man, Convergence Plastic Man and the Freedom Fighters. I look back at the old Earth X team from pre-crisis, although Plastic Man really, he could have been on the team because he was from the same Quality Comics purchase of characters, but he never actually showed up with that group then, but he's in there now. So Plastic Man and the Freedom Fighters. We've got old school Jeff Parker from Bone doing, if I'm saying that right, doing Convergence Shazam, your classic, there's just the three of them, Captain Marvel Jr. kind of thing, right there, in Convergence Shazam. Got Convergence Speed Force, So, because in the main books at this point, Wally still didn't have his children back. So, this was a flashback to when he, like the later years of his series, right before Flashpoint, and when he had the twin kids right there who are teaming up with him. We got Convergence Suicide Squad, the story sort of set during the early days of that series, post-crisis kind of thing. Convergence Superboy, so with the 90s Superboy kind of going up against the Kingdom Come Superman right there. That's issue 2. I gotta fix that. Issue 1, Superboy and the Legion of superheroes, as kind of in that pre-crisis mode. Convergence, Supergirl, Matrix. So after the crisis, Superman was the only survivor of Krypton. So Lex Luthor of another dimension created a Supergirl. Blah blah blah, and she came and was a cohort of Superman's, but she was also highly attached to Lex Luthor, who was in the cloned body that he had cloned for himself, and it was impersonating his own, saying that he was his own son when he was actually the original. And then Convergent Superman. So this is a notable series. Not much happens necessarily in issue 1, but in issue 2 we have the first appearance of Jon Kent, the son of Superman and Lois. In this series, Jon Kent is born within the world, the strange world that all these characters are living in the Convergence event. Then when the Convergence thing is over, they're going to bring them into the main DC universe, and he will wind up with a more of a normal birth history, not being born in the Batcave, as it were. But that is the first appearance of Jon Kent, son of Kal-El. We've got Superman, Man of Steel, looking back at the character Steel as he appeared back in, say, the 90s or so. Got Convergence Swamp Thing, kind of a late 70s Swamp Thing, written by original writer Lynn Wein, right there. Convergence, The Question, written by Greg Rucka. So this uses the female Question from, and as he had written kind of in 2000s comics. And Convergence, The Titans. So later on than the other book, back when sort of right before Flashpoint, things that were going on, membership as it existed at that point. We've got Convergence, Wonder Woman, which was always a little hard to, I think this was supposed to be, so this is back in the 80s when she first, so 80s Wonder Woman, when she first got that top, although I didn't find that she did anything that was particularly distinctive relative to that, other than just wearing that top. And all those series end with Convergence, World's Finest. Just a look at the classic 7 Soldiers of Victory team from World War II, including the original Green Arrow and Speedy, who in current continuity are the main Green Arrow and Speedy who got sent backwards in time. So that's all of Convergence. Then we go to Cool World, which was a movie in the late 80s, early 90s, animated. Kim Basinger voiced this character. Guy gets stuck in the world of cartoons, and then he is able to get out, but then the cartoons come out and try to escape their world as well. Early Brad Pitt appearance starring in that movie. This is the adaptation of Cool World. And then there was a 4-issue series, which tells kind of a prequel series to the events that happen in the movie, showing how Brad Pitt is the first person to get stuck in that world, and how he ends up getting stuck in that world. Right there, it ends in issue 4. There you go. Then we've got Cosmic Boy, taking place during the Legends series. After the Crisis, the Legion realizes that history is all screwed up, and they send Cosmic Boy back to investigate, and he winds up getting involved in the Legends event, and that culminates in issue 4 with him confronting some version of the Time Trapper. Seems like the Time Trapper changes every time somebody talks to him. Night Girl guest starring in this series. Night Girl's kind of a cool chick. She gets powers when she's not under direct sunlight. So there you go. Issue 4. We jump forward quite a bit to Cosmic Ghost Rider. I don't know why I got this. But I did. Frank Castle, the Punisher, in his personal future, is actually going to be thrown into get the powers of becoming a Ghost Rider, and will travel through space or something like that. This is not his first appearance. I think we were supposed to have read something before this to know who he was and how that happened. But anyway, he travels through time and gets the baby Thanos, and has to make the decisions around is he going to kill baby Thanos? Is he going to try to raise baby Thanos to be not what, the Thanos that we know? Decisions will be made. That's issue 5. We've got Cosmic Odyssey, kind of a Mike Mignola art from Hellboy, kind of an outer space adventure for the DC universe. Most notable item is this is the series wherein Jon Stewart gets all cocky and goes in to stop a bomb that is going to blow up a planet, and it turns out that bomb is completely yellow, and he will not be able. At that point, Green Lanterns did not have the ability to affect anything that was yellow, so the entire planet blows up and everybody dies. And so he has that on his conscience, because he should have waited and taken somebody with him. And so that would be kind of an ongoing thing, but a lot of Jack Kirby characters tied up in this series, some magic and some cosmic stuff. A lot of good DC goodness there. And then, speaking of cosmic, we've got Cosmic Powers. So I can see where the title of this would be confusing, because they're all cosmic powers, and then colon Thanos, and each one is focuses on a different Marvel cosmic character. This one, of course, focuses on Thanos. There are various ones. And it ends with Cosmic Powers Tyrant, who I believe, if I remember correctly, was another one of those. Is he the one that's the first Herald of Galactus before Silver Surfer? Something like that. He's a cosmic, ugly, bad guy, and this issue is focused on him. Then we go to Countdown. So DC had done the 52 series, 52 being the name of the title of the book, and which was a weekly series. So for a full year, every week, one issue would come out, and it had been successful. So they decided to do this, and this was a countdown to Final Crisis. So at the end of this series, they would do the Final Crisis, publish the Final Crisis series. The problem is, they weren't really paying attention, and stuff will happen here that doesn't make any sense when you read Final Crisis. The other idea was they were trying to say, well, whatever this says, this happens at the same time as the other books that come out that week from DC Comics. So there's all these kind of tie-ins and things that they tried to do, but of course there was a lot of not getting it exactly right. So, but anyway, and of course this is you're going to be looking at them in the reverse order from when they were published, because it was published from, issue 52 to issue 1, so that we are actually looking at this chronologically speaking backwards. So there you go, bear with me. So issue 1, Countdown to Final Crisis. Issue 8, we got the Monitor versus Darkseid. All the other heroes getting tied up in that. Once again, we're looking at this backwards. Issue 9, there was a team that included Kyle Rayner and Wonder Girl and Mary Marvel that was running around doing some stuff. Got this one also had Monarch from the Armageddon 2001. There's a whole bunch of multiverse and the various monitors, each one monitor per universe in the 52 universes. So you got the Master Man, the Superman from Earth 10 right there. I don't have them all memorized, but something like that. Oh, and they tried to say, tried to establish the main Earth that each book was taking place on. I don't know how consistent that was. Got this one. Oh, it was Red Hood and Kyle and Wonder Girl, along with one of the monitors who were running around the multiverse and doing stuff. And this one is set on Earth 51, looking for Monarch. But before that, we had, I believe this was Superboy Prime. So another thing that was going on during this time, so Superboy Prime is the character, but then there was a whole bunch of legal stuff going on around Superboy at that time, and so I think they were trying to not use the name Superboy. So Superboy Prime got a little bit aged up and was called Superman Prime, and Superman Prime is showing up here, and he is doing some killing of Lex Luthor apparently here on, at least on Earth 15 there. But before that, we had Firestorm. Oh yeah, the Bludhaven, the city that Nightwing lives in, got all blowed up, and Firestorm is apparently in there dealing with some of the wasteland of that. But before that, we've got Supergirl and Stargirl trying to get into the bachelorette party. Who was getting married? I forget. Maybe we'll be reminded of that as we work our way back. So that was issue 32. So before that, we have that team of Kyle and Wonder Girl and Red Hood and this Monitor being put into a team, being a team, deciding to become a team to go solve a problem. But before that, they were all sort of thrown together, dealing with some mess right there with the Ryan Choi Atom and that kind of thing. Issue 40. So before that, in issue 41, we had Trickster and the Pied Piper having a problem there. And before that, the series started with issue 51. Sorry, I said 52 earlier, 51. And of course, we didn't know what it was counting down to. At some point, if you watched that, you should have seen the countdown to Final Crisis thing go away. But, and so we just knew that some stuff was going to happen. And so this is just kind of a beauty cover of all of the characters. DC was really leaning into their multiverse during this time. So we have Countdown Arena, where characters from different universes are forced to fight. So you've got Vampire Batman versus Gotham by Gaslight Batman. versus, I guess, Old West Batman there. An issue that ends in issue 4 with Ultraman Superman versus Superman versus whatever Superman that is. That kind of thing. Lots of labeling of characters. And they did all this, and then Flashpoint came along, and we still had 52 universes, but some of the universes were no longer the same number that they were before. So it's all a bit wonky. Countdown presents Lord Havoc and the Extremists. So these had been some classic characters. These are basically takeoffs of Marvel characters. Originally they were set so that DC characters could meet Marvel characters without having to go through all the rigmarole. So here's their kind of for example, Captain America. This guy was like, I think their what do you call it, Doctor Doom, thing like that. So this is a series just looking at those characters and taking them further. So we got their Doctor Doom and their Sabretooth, I guess, and their Magneto and their Dr. Octopus, and there's just a whole story going on there. Then that team of Red Hood and Wonder Girl and the others were trolling around the multiverse looking for Ray Palmer, because somebody had figured out that Ray Palmer, the second Atom, was the secret to solving this whole problem that was going on. So we needed to find him, and he's somewhere in the multiverse. So here they're going to travel to Earth 3, which is where the heroes are good and the villains. The heroes are the villains and the villains are the heroes. And going to deal with the jokester or something, what jester or jokester or whatever, who's a good guy, and go up against Owlman, who's the bad guy. They visit a world that's the Wildstorm universe. There's 50, so they're meeting. We're seeing them team up with all of the Wildstorm characters there. And for some reason, this is a slightly pricier book. They go to the Earth 11, where all the genders are reversed, and team up with kind of their close to gender reversed equivalents over there, meeting up with Superwoman and Batwoman from that world. Wow, that's a slightly more expensive book. We have Countdown to Adventure, where it's kind of an anthology, I believe, where there was a main story and a backup story. The backup story was this Forerunner character who was invented for the book, and then the main story is Adam Strange and Starfire and Animal Man teaming up for a space adventure, which I think, so they had first gotten together in 52, and so they were, that was a very again, 52 was a very big seller, so they want to tie into that again. I think this is the series with the very funny scene where Starfire shows up at Animal Man's door and is like, "Hi, is Buddy here?" And Animal Man's wife is like, "Excuse me?" Why this woman is showing up at his door asking for him. Issue 1. And there's a whole thing about, I love my wife. She's very beautiful, but I love my wife, and I would never cheat on my wife. So issue 1 of Countdown to Adventure, and that runs through issue 8 of Countdown to Adventure. There. Got some people, for some reason, this book, which is called this DC Countdown to Infinite Crisis, and I don't know why. The DC there, that's just the standard DC symbol. So this is actually just called Countdown to Infinite Crisis, and it's just a book, a prelude to the Infinite Crisis series that will be coming out. I forget who the dead Blue Beetle. Oh, this is the one where Blue Beetle gets shot in the head. Yeah. So this is that famous issue, and art by Jim Lee, and but this is Countdown to Infinite Crisis #1, right there. All right, we are finished counting down, as it were. We're going to creep a little bit more. We bewared the creeper before, and now we are just creepering. So we got this series, Lynn Kominsky, Sean Martinborough, from several issue series of The Creeper. And it's the first issue. Inevitably, as you would think, the crazy superhero would run up against the crazy villain of the Joker. So they have that out in issue 7. Then we go to issue that continues in issue 8. Batman shows up, and he and the Creeper are in a bit of a fix there. And then, unfortunately, that series didn't sell very well. So we're at issue 11. I think this is happening in his head. I can't remember, but we have lots of creepers here in issue 11. As I frequently mention, as a DC series of a certain time, it had a 1 million issue. So in the far future, there will be some entity that kind of looks like the Creeper and calls itself the Creeper, and we learn more about that here in the Creeper 1 million. And we had another kind of a reboot series right here with featuring just a restart of the Creeper, new origin, still Jack Ryder. I think this might be the first one to kind of pick up on, Jack Ryder had always been a reporter, but this was the one to really kind of solidify him as being kind of a right-wing reporter kind of thing that a lot of people didn't get along with. But that's issue 1. And Batman once again shows up, and but the series ends in issue 6. The Crew with James Rhodes, a little team together, written by Christopher Priest, so ties in a lot to Black Panther, or at least has the same flavor. So that's issue 1 of The Crew. This would be I think this is the series. So we met the Isaiah, the first Captain America, the guy who had been experimented on with the super soldier serum before Steve Rogers. We had met him in the series called Truth, which we'll of course see down the road. And I think this series was the first one to talk about where is he now, or maybe the second series after Truth to use the character. But so he shows up here. So fans of the Captain America: Brave New World series may want to take a look at this series. We were just looking at the Earth 3 crime syndicate a little while ago. A few years ago, they got their own limited series. Lots of infighting amongst this evil Justice League in their own world. It's more they fight each other more than they fight the good guys. Right there, fighting over who's going to be in power, who's going to be dating who, that kind of thing. That series ends with issue 6 right there. We have Crimson Avenger right there. Arguably the first DC superhero, or the first superhero after Superman, or it depends on how you look at it, because he started off just with the hat and the gun and whatever, and then he put maybe the mask, and then he added the cape, and so that line of where he became a superhero varies, although he will eventually get a full-on skin-tight suit. But this was a wartime adventure written by Roy Thomas, who is of course a big wartime guy. And Greg Brooks, who I think, I hate to say this way, but he either passed away or did something really bad. I can't remember. I just remember there's some reason why we don't have any more Greg Brooks artwork. But can't remember if it's not good either way, but can't remember which of those bad things it was. But anyway, Crimson Avenger 1. And we got to Crimson Avenger 4. Mike Gustovich coming on to help with artwork on there. Got a solo series for Crimson Dynamo, who was a Iron Man villain, and this was a sort of an offbeat story. This kid sort of figures out how to control a Crimson Dynamo suit remotely, and he starts tromping it all over, and people had to figure out how to stop it. Something along those lines. It's an epic, so it's kind of an off canon kind of thing, possibly, but good stuff. Crimson Dynamo, that's issue 1, and that goes through issue 6 right there. We've got Crimson Plague, which is some sort of vampire-y thing, and the only reason I have this is because it's George Perez, and I think this is the second book. I think it was published by another publisher, and then this was like a reprint of the first issue, and then the second issue was also included in here, something like that. But that's well, that's issue 2, so I don't know. But I just bought it for the George Perez art. But vampires, and more vampires. So these books say Infinite Crisis Aftermath on the top, on the front, but on the indicia inside it just says Crisis Aftermath, the Battle for Bludhaven. So Bludhaven, as I mentioned, had gotten blowed up real good, and this was a team we had seen the Force of July, government-sponsored team, first battled the Outsiders in Batman and the Outsiders, and they are defending this locked off, destroyed area, radioactive area of Bludhaven, and there's people still living there or something, and people want them to open it back up, and there's a big fight and stuff. So anyway, that's issue 1, and we have issue 6 with the Titans, as in some other heroes as they existed, going up against some government forces. There were some of the old Freedom Fighters, X-Force, or Earth X heroes involved in this as well. So that's issue 6 of that. And last but not least, we have Crisis Aftermath, the Spectre, with a new guy becoming the Spectre after Hal Jordan, and he's kind of out of control, and has, I believe, Jim Corrigan, the former Spectre, has to try to get him under control. So there you go. So that is all of that box. All right, so that's that box. The next time we'll do box 43. We will actually start with the Crisis on Infinite Earths. We'll finish up the C's, so we'll be doing some Cyclops and some Cyborg and things like that. We will get into the D's. We'll start getting into some Daredevil at that point. So, so glad you were here. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.